There are a few non-negotiable steps that nearly every law school applicant has to complete. Hi, my name is Bree. I'm a current 1L or first-year law student at LSU Law. I'll be sharing my law journey, including information, advice, and my own experiences. If you have any questions about law school or the application process, feel free to send me a message or leave a comment below. There are different versions of this list pretty much everywhere, but here are the core steps. Earn a bachelor's degree, take the LSAT, build your resume, get at least 2 letters of recommendation, write a personal statement, purchase a CAS report or Credential Assembly Service report, and submit your application. If that's all you need to know, good luck, but I'll be sharing some important information for each step. Earning your bachelor's degree. This is a standard 4-year degree, but it has to be from an accredited institution or one that's officially recognized. But you don't need to have a specific major in order to get into law school. In fact, when I was an undergrad, law school recruiters would actually recommend not majoring in things like criminal justice and political science. They said that law schools today tend to value a wide range of academic backgrounds, and choosing a different major can actually help you stand out. What does matter is your GPA, so choose something that you like, something that interests you, something you think you'll do well in. I graduated in December 2024 with my bachelor's in English with a concentration in literature and language. I did end up getting my minor in political science, but it's definitely not necessary, and if I could go back, I probably wouldn't. But I don't regret my English degree. I genuinely enjoyed it, and it also helped me prepare my skills for law school. Skills like reading comprehension, research, analysis, and critical thinking. Even though it's not required to start law school with any legal knowledge, my political science minor did make me feel more prepared. It made me more familiar with our legal system, I learned about major Supreme Court cases, and I also learned things like what a case brief is. So step 1 is earning your bachelor's degree, ideally with a high GPA. I graduated with a 3.97. I know. I feel slightly better including the 7. The next step is to take the LSAT, or the Law School Admissions Test. The LSAT is administered by the Law School Admissions Council, or LSAC. The LSAT is a test that's kind of difficult, but it's designed to measure skills that law schools look for in future lawyers. These are skills like analytical reasoning, critical thinking, and reading comprehension. It was at this point that I was most grateful for my English degree. The LSAT takes about 2.5 hours to complete, and it can be taken either remotely or at a testing center. It currently costs $248 for each attempt, and there are several opportunities to take the LSAT during each cycle. Your score lasts only up to 5 years. After that, they're no longer valid. The test itself consists of 4 multiple choice sections and 1 writing sample. I would love to talk more about the LSAT, including the score I received, the testing materials I used, the different sections, and question types in a later video. I recommend taking the LSAT pretty early, definitely around your junior year. Your first attempt is probably your worst, and the more times you take it, people generally tend to improve. The advice that I was given is to take the LSAT between April of your junior year and August of your senior year to ensure that you get your score back in time to submit your application. Now, your LSAT score and your GPA are the 2 most important parts of your application. While the other components of your application are very important and do matter, those 2 numbers heavily influence not only if you're admitted, but how much scholarship you're offered. So you can look at the law schools that you're interested in and find their median GPA and LSAT score and aim for that as a baseline. Now, the next few steps in the law school application process can be done in any order, but this next one is important and I recommend starting early. Step 3 is building your resume. You can start working on your resume as early as your freshman year in college, but the advice that I've been given is to throw out anything from high school or before. Law schools tend to see this information as outdated. Instead, over your next 4 years of undergrad, try building your resume by working, volunteering, joining school organizations, etc. Your resume is a living document. As you grow, it should too. You get new experience, add it to your resume. You get an award, add it to your resume. Think of it as adding a new badge to your sash. Personally, I was the vice president of my university's debate society. I was also a member of pre-law. I was in honor societies like Gamma Beta Phi and Phi Kappa Phi. I was also in the Honor Student Association, and I was employed by the university as a tutor. I was out there doing the most. But your main priority is still your GPA, and you don't have to do everything. Just get involved in the things that interest you. Don't do something just to put it on your resume. That's a good way to make yourself feel overworked and miserable. With that said, try and do things that showcase your work ethic and dedication through relevant experiences. And the last thing is to keep it to 1 page only. Every admission speaker and career services advisor I spoke to said the same thing. A 1-page resume makes you more likely to end up in the yes pile. Step 4 is to obtain at least 2 letters of recommendation. Most law schools require a minimum of 2, but some accept 3 or even 4. The advice that I was given and what I recommend is to have at least one academic source, so like your professor, and one professional source, so your boss or your supervisor. Whoever you choose, they should be able to speak directly and personally about your strengths and work ethic, not just someone with an impressive title. A letter from a judge or an attorney that your family might know might sound great on paper, but if they barely know you, then it won't carry much weight. Another thing that I was told is to try and get a sense if they actually like you. If you're unsure or if they seem hesitant, then it's probably better to ask someone else. Now, that might seem obvious, but I'm only mentioning it because it has happened to someone before. Letters have to be uploaded directly to LSAC by your recommenders, or a paper form can be printed out and mailed. So keep that in mind. Either way, it's important to give them plenty of time before the deadline and to let them know about the process. Step 5 is to write a personal statement. Some people look at it as their "why are you going to law school" statement. What really helps me is to explain a person or an experience or a chain of events that explain why law school is the only logical next step. It should be unique and give law schools an idea of who you are as a person. You can talk about what beliefs and values are important to you. Just be sure to not turn it into a political rant or be too extreme. Personal statements should be about 2 pages and should be free of any grammatical errors or spelling mistakes. It's used as a major indicator of your writing skills, so be sure to spend a lot of time on it. You should not do what I did and spend like 2 days working on it. When I asked one of my professors if she'd be willing to write a letter of recommendation, she asked to see my resume and personal statement, and I didn't have one. Now, I'd like to think that I'm a good writer, but I know I could have done better if I spent more time on it. Even though it ended up being completely fine, you're supposed to spend at least a couple weeks working on it, because the more time you spend revising it and proofreading it, the better it will be. Now, some law schools might also ask for a "why this law school in particular" or a "why X" statement. Again, it should be about 2 pages long, but this one, for each school, it has to be completely different because you have to explain why you want to attend that school specifically. By the way, if anyone's looking for an extra opinion on their resume or personal statement or any part of your application, I would love to help, so feel free to reach out. Next, you have to register and purchase a Credential Assembly Service Report, or a CAS report. It's purchased directly through LSAC's website, and it costs $215 to register and an additional $45 for every law school that you apply to. Also, when you register, it lasts for a 5-year subscription. So a CAS report organizes and distributes your core application materials to the law schools that you're applying to. It honestly streamlines the application process and makes applying much easier. The bulk of the work is getting all the materials together. Now that that's done, you can officially submit your application. All law school applications are submitted directly through your LSAC account. Each application may look a little different depending on the questions that specific law school asks, but most of them follow a similar structure and ask for basic personal, academic, and background information. Keep in mind that every law school has different deadlines for when they start and stop taking applications. With that said, no matter which school you apply to, it's important to be as early as possible. Applying early increases your chances of admission and also improves your odds of financial aid or scholarship offers. So those were the main steps on how to apply to law school. I hope that this information was helpful, especially if you're planning to apply this cycle. Also, I know it's a lot, but I just wanted to share all of the information in one place because I wish that I had a resource like it when I was an undergrad. And as you can see, a lot of these steps take a lot of time and a lot of money. It's definitely not a decision to take lightly, but I think the latest that you should decide is probably around your junior year of college. Any later than that, and it would be a bit more difficult in trying to go to law school right after graduation, but there's no set time limit in applying to and attending law school. People can go to law school at any stage of their life, but no matter when you apply, it can be very overwhelming, so just take it one step at a time, because these steps can take months or even years to complete. But it's not a race, and remember to do things at your own pace. If you think that you would benefit from spending more time on your personal statement and application materials, go ahead and do that and prioritize the quality of your application over applying early. But do try and find a right balance between the two. And if you found any of this helpful, feel free to like, comment, or reach out with anything you'd like me to know or any questions that you have. If you'd like to hear more about LSAT prep, personal statements, resume, or any part of the application process or law school in general, feel free to let me know. I remember being extremely stressed, and I would love to help anybody any way that I can. And if you are applying, best of luck.